The biggest show in town. We're here at the sun-soaked Essex Masters. I talk about the future of double trap and how it could still be in the Olympics. How a ground keeps fresh. We are creative target setting. I'm Peter Wilson. Welcome to Claysports. The first big competition of the Claysports calendar, the Essex Masters, welcomed over 2,000 competitors through its door in the biggest event that the ground has held so far. Going into its 17th year, the event promises, as always, to bring high levels of competition and variety to its entrants, who have travelled from all over Europe to attend this landmark event. It attracts the best shots in the sport. The reason for such a high number of entrants?
I think John is a really clever target setter. He doesn't try to beat people on distance. He uses speeds and different angles that show targets they look further away than they actually are. And I mean, he's a very clever course designer.
And the man who set those targets has been busy all through the 6 days of this competition, overseeing the pegs and making sure that they run smoothly.
I use chromatic traps and chromatic clays, and we are actually getting whole squads coming in saying that they've been shooting and they haven't had one single no bird, so I'm very pleased with that. And you know, you can't beat chromatic traps anyway, so they are the best. I cater for everybody, not just the top shots. You know, there's a lot of stands there that are quite easy, but they're always doing something, so when they miss, they don't know why they've missed them. So that's the skill I sort of bring into it. You know, I don't put 60, 70 yard edge on targets on like some people do. All mine are top or bottom and all accessible and all well gettable. Yeah, I set it up for a 190 at 192, and George missed 3 on one stand and shot a 96, and he missed 3 on another stand and shot a 95. So, you know, he's held it together, and he's won it more times than anybody else.
The number of entrants could not be catered for if it wasn't for the sponsors, and Essex Gun have played their part this year, contributing to the biggest prize pot so far of over £45,000.
We came up with the idea of doing something different as a shoot. Came up with the idea of the Essex Gun Masters, with ourselves as a sponsor, and making it a 200 bird competition, all shot in one day, which was the unusual thing. There's a few people tried to copy it since, but no one's got even close.
They aren't the only sponsors on site. Essex Audi have been roped in after the general manager caught the shooting bug himself.
The event last year we sponsored, never had my licence then, came over, really got hooked, thoroughly enjoyed it, apart from my licence. Got my licence now, had it for the last 6 months. Not quite good enough yet to get in this event. Wouldn't want to enter it and sort of have the lowest score, but no, really enjoy it. We'll see why everyone else likes it.
The cars aren't just there to look pretty. With the shoot expanding, Audi is providing a taxi service to shooters taking them to their pegs on the other side of the layout. It's quite some distance, with each car doing roughly 75 miles a day. With the final day moving along smoothly, the big score has already been posted by the legend that is George Digweed with 191. But what do the people think will win it?
I think the score is already on the board.
Putting a 192 or 3.
A 197.
George is 191, to beat him.
I think 191 will probably win it.
It's a marvellous score. Looks like easy, but no technical target. So you don't understand why you miss, but you miss one here, another one here, and at the end you finish with a bad score.
There is lots of the usual fun and frustration as people take on the clays, but there are still a few possible guns out there who could take the prize. The competition has quite some draw and pulls in people from all over, some even straight from the airport.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. You know, I only landed late this morning. I flew back from Norway, got in at 10 o'clock this morning to Stansted, so not the best preparation, but and it showed, to be fair. I missed a couple early on, but then got into it. I never really shoot well at this shoot. It's too early in the season for me. I'm still playing rugby at the minute, and the shooting sort of starts from today, so it sort of gives me a gauge of where I am and what I need to practice on. So we're not miles away, but not at the top of our game.
With the scores tallied up, no one has been able to match George's score, and he is crowned champion of the Essex Masters again.
As usual, John Dyson's put on a fantastic event. To have over 2,000 entries come through in the week. I'm amazed that the weather has been able, to stay with us this long. I was unsure as to whether the score would actually hold. 191 was a good score, but felt there was probably one or two more there. But they've also got to shoot them. So I was very pleased, and I just think it's a phenomenal event. If you look at the other CPSA championships that are run, the English and the British Open, it would be the equivalent of 4,000 entries at those events, shooting 100 targets. So, it's an incredible event, and I'm very proud to have won it.
The competition is going from strength to strength, and we'll be back next year on the 3rd to 8th of April 2018. Will we see you then? A lot of love for the Essex Masters. It's a competition that keeps growing. Now, Jack Pike wants to show off some of its clay shooting clothing. You may spot some familiar faces. I love a bit of slow-mo. Now, to keep the shooter's interest, the course setter has to mix it up a bit. It's a scene played out across the country as CPSA members compete in registered shoots. Here at Oakedge Shooting Ground in Staffordshire, manager Paul Hodson is holding his breath. After spending the last 4 days working on the layout, the wind has picked up dramatically.
We set the course to what we think is a fair enough ability for all classes. Obviously today is a perfect example. You set a course during the week when there's absolutely no wind, and then on the day of the shoot you have to adjust all the targets because of wind direction, wind speed. Today it's blowing probably a 20-mile-an-hour wind, which is having a serious effect on the flight of the clay. So I have to readjust things on the morning of the shoot. I was walking the shooting ground this morning at 4 o'clock thinking about changing angles, thinking about changing where I put targets, purely and simply to stay within the boundaries of the wind and the limitation. Trying to get everybody a fair bird, so every bird is a consistent bird.
Paul has only been here for 9 months, and he's made some significant changes, such as the automated trap system. It's a ground he's known all his life, and the parkland setting offers him the chance to show some very nice birds, thanks to the valleys that run through it.
We have a lot of high birds here. A lot of guys like high birds. I am thinking of hosting an extreme distance challenge in the summer. We had a guy called Brent Woodward who's here today. He shot a bird on the compact from the middle of the car park. He measured it out around about 90 metres, and I reckon he could shoot it even further. And he was using 24 gun cartridges for that. So it just goes to show, if you can find the targets, everything is hittable. It's just finding them. As Mr. Digweed is always telling us, if you can see them, you can hit them.
How difficult is the crowd to please? They're a tricky bunch, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean the thing is you're never going to please everybody all the time, so it's pleasing the masses. Most half proficient shooters want to improve, they want to see challenging targets and different presentations, and end of the day, you can only do your best, and that's what we try to do.
And yourself, how did you do today?
Fairly steady. I had a few stands that were pretty disastrous and that, but I think it was around about 80 I put in, which is a slightly below par, but in these conditions and this wind blowing, it's blowing 30 odd mile an hour, it's half decent.
Have you heard people talking about the shoot today? Have you been eavesdropping?
Yeah, that's a problem. It's been a bit distracting really. I haven't been watching many targets. I've been listening to what everybody's saying, and the feedback generally has been really, really good. They love the variety. Yes, the conditions have made it slightly more difficult than probably would have could have been, but they've just loved the targets and loved the variety on offer.
Paul may have the topography, but a dark background means he uses a lot of coloured clays. Not ideal for this very beautiful part of the country, but it's just another consideration for course setters. As is what targets to produce. It can cause sleepless nights, but sometimes it helps to get a little creative.
I like my bolting fox, which is a fox that comes out from under the tower, so it comes out from under your feet and it's chasing a rabbit. So you've got the fox coming out and you send the rabbit at the same time. It looks like the fox is chasing the rabbit and you're going, which one do you shoot? The other target that we have on is we've got a squirrel. Now the squirrel wasn't my idea, it was somebody else's idea, and a brilliant idea it is too. We've got a telegraph pole that's been extended with a ladder and it has a crossbar on the top of it. The idea is you put a chandelle trap underneath the telegraph pole and you send a vertical clay straight up in the air and you have to shoot it before it reaches the crossbar. Again, that's one of those challenging targets. You can't put it on as a regular shoot, but for a practice shoot or maybe a pool shoot, that was something that we could look forward to.
For more information about Oakedge Shooting Ground, its competition shoots and corporate entertainment it has to offer, go to oakedgeshootingground.co.uk. Thanks to Paul and all at Oakedge Shooting Ground. Now, some of you may know that double trap, the discipline I shot at the Olympic Games, has been put forward by the ISSF, that's the International Shooting Sports Federation, for removal from the Olympic Games. Thankfully, Luciano Rossi, the FITAV president, has written to the federations to support double trap, 50-metre rifle, 50-metre pistol, but more importantly to support shooting in general. There is a threat, and that threat is that our sport will be replaced by laser in the future. We cannot allow this to happen. If there's anything you can do, whether that's to write to your federation, the CPSA, British Shooting, BICTSF, in support of our sport, shotgun, rifle and pistol, non-Olympic, Olympic, it really shouldn't matter. Even if you leave a comment below, anything's better than nothing. Now, what's been going on in the world of clay shooting? It's Roundup.
Highwayman's Shooting Ground in Bury St Edmunds hosts the first CPSA Major Championship of the year from the 10th to the 14th of May. In this video, Simon Smith from Highwayman's says what it will be like.
It's a nice big ground, so we can put on various targets, and the beauty of the ground is you can put the targets on. There's plenty of time to see the targets, so that means you've got time to get on them and shoot them.
There are two big FITASC competitions in the UK this year. South Down runs the UK Grand Prix at the end of May, and Lulworth Estate has the European Championships. Beverley will be hosting the first 2017 DTL England selection shoot on the 29th and 30th of April, and that lanky bugger is Peter Wilson, no less, shooting at Beverley a few years ago. Last weekend, Doveridge Claysports Centre hosted the first English Skeet England selection. Amber Hill won it with 73 out of 75 and is heading to Cyprus in a couple of weeks' time. Look out for that. Another great British lady shot, Amy Easman, is the face of the new Browning 725 Pro Sport. She gave up time from her GCSE revision to make a series of films for Browning. Click on the link to watch her putting it through its paces. And the charity clay season is underway. If you want to hobnob with the rich and famous and do some good for shooting, or maybe you are rich and famous, there are 8 spaces left at a simulated day in Buckinghamshire for the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust. Visit bit.ly/GWCT Clays.
Thank you for watching. We'll be back next month with more Claysports.